Hello Star Wars fans, the time has come to seriously ask the question, who saved Grogu? Who pulled him out of the Jedi Temple during the execution of Order 66 by the clones? Who is this mysterious savior? Of course, you can wait for the release of the series and find out everything for sure, especially since the show is up on the horizon. But delving into this topic is trying to get to the truth through theories and guesses is much more enjoyable, isn't it? Today, I will tell you about all the possible candidates for the role of the savior of the baby, and you, in turn, please write your list of characters or one specific character who will be the savior of Grogu in the comment section. Mace Windu. I think it will be fair to open our theory list with him. For a long time now, fans have been building hundreds of theories about his return. Mace Windu is the most anticipated character in the show who will be able to give a sudden plot twist with his appearance. This is primarily the merit of the charismatic actor Samuel Jackson, who amazes not only on the screen but also in real life. And behind his back are millions of fans supporting his return. Surely Lucasfilm monitors the fans' opinions and understands how much the views and ratings of the series will increase if Mace Windu appears in it, even in a small cameo. Jackson himself has long been awaiting a chance to return to Star Wars. He loves the universe itself and his character, and about a year ago, while working with actress Bryce Dallas Howard, who manages to direct several episodes of The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, he directly asked her to bring Mace Windu back in Star Wars. They laughed together, but the most important thing is that Howard was interested in his proposal. I think everyone understands that the appearance of Jackson on the screen is guaranteed success for the pocket of Lucasfilms and the Mandalorian show as a whole. But back to the topic. How could Windu save Grogu? Perhaps the fact that Grogu may turn out to be a kind of secret project of the Jedi. Perhaps he is so strong that he was trained under special conditions and kept in a separate part of the temple, and the Jedi understood that sooner or later they would come for him. Pay close attention to when we are shown the memories of the baby. It is noticeable how several Jedi protect him at once. Only him. Maybe there were still Padawans, but they were not shown, so I conclude that they are not present at all. Also, pay attention to exactly how the clones shoot the Jedi. They are at a great distance from them, but as soon as the Jedi fall dead, one of them points his finger at Grogu, after which the whole squad runs towards him. But why? If they could calmly shoot at him from there and be done with it. One gets the impression that they were looking for him, and as soon as the clone had noticed the baby, he pointed his finger at him and shouted to the others, "Here he is!" As we were shown in the Bad Batch, Palpatine was conducting secret cloning experiments back in the days of the Republic. He needed a strong donor, so he probably could find out about Grogu and have a special order to purge all the Jedi except him within the temple. This explains why the Jedi protected him so hard and why the clones did not fire from afar but ran straight toward him. This was, so to speak, introductory information, which we will rely on in the future. Let's get back to Mace Windu. What if the Master survived a fall, and as soon as he came to his senses, he immediately remembered Grogu, who in his opinion was in grave danger, and now his salvation is the main priority over the salvation of the rest of the Jedi. Pressing his severed hand to himself, overcoming pain, he would run into the temple. He would appear right in time exactly when the clones wanted to tie Grogu. He would have pulled the first lightsaber that came across and cut everyone, brought the baby out and hid it, and then either returned back to the temple and rested there forever, or raised the baby on his own in exile, like Yoda. As for me, this is the most interesting, but the most unlikely option. SHAAK-TI. She can be called the most long-suffering Jedi among all of them, since there are already 5 versions of the death scenes of the unfortunate SHAAK-TI. If you look at the 5 scenes in more detail, then her final death in the Jedi Temple can probably be considered canonical, since it appeared as a vision to Master Yoda on Korriban. Plus there is a cutscene and a written mention in the novel of the 3rd episode. Therefore, we will assume that at the time of Order 66, SHAAK-TI was in the Jedi Temple. In fact, she could have saved Grogu and only then met in a duel with the fallen Anakin. I'll explain why. Initially, George Lucas wanted her to be stabbed from behind, but at the same time, he liked SHAAK-TI as a character and felt that such a death looked too strange for a Jedi Master like her, and later in the Clone Wars, he gave SHAAK-TI a lot of time in all episodes on Kamino and many others. It is especially a pity for the actress who played SHAAK-TI in the prequels because according to the stories of Lucas himself, she had to put on the most complicated makeup for many hours, several times, and even especially fly to London to shoot one scene so that later she would be completely cut out of the film. It is quite possible that Dave Filoni, as an ardent successor to Lucas's legacy, will finally put an end to the issue of SHAAK-TI's death and show due respect to the actress, thereby showing her the Master saved Grogu and then instead of being pierced from the back, agreed in a spectacular duel with Anakin and only then died, clearly and unambiguously. BARRISS OFFEE. If anyone does not know, this is such a Myrialian girl with a greenish face and patterns in the nose and eyes. OFFEE was among 200 Jedi sent to Geonosis to save Kenobi, Skywalker and Senator Padme Amidala from execution. But most of all, she was glorified by the fall to the dark side because, as shown in the Clone Wars, she staged a terrorist attack in the Jedi Temple, in which AHSOKA was eventually accused. And although in the end OFFEE was arrested and imprisoned and AHSOKA was acquitted, the latter still refused return to the Order. Barriss's betrayal was caused by a deep disappointment in the methods of the Order, and later AHSOKA herself even admitted that despite her disgust at OFFEE's act, she was still right in some ways. Whether she was in prison at the time of Order 66 is unknown, as is her fate. Why did I even remember her? For one reason only. The fact is that in Grogu's memory on the right along the corridor, you can see just the same room of the same BARRISS OFFEE. This is indicated by a characteristic sign near the door. The same was in the Clone Wars. In fact, that's about all you can get your hands on. It seems to me that it's just an Easter egg left by Dave Filoni himself. But who knows, maybe there is some hint hidden in this seemingly simple design. AHSOKA TANO. Get ready, this is going to be hard to understand. AHSOKA was not in the temple during Order 66, plus when she first met Grogu, she saw his past for the first time, but could not understand who exactly saved him from the temple. It is also surprising that she was not familiar with him at all, which only confirms the guess that the Jedi tried once again not to show the baby to anyone. How could she save him then? Do you remember how Ezra Bridger saved AHSOKA? He went into a special Jedi temple, looked into the rift leading through space and time, and simply pulled AHSOKA out of an alternate reality, thereby saving her from death. Or it was the same reality, only its past. I say it's difficult. Note that AHSOKA constantly influences the fate of the baby. At first she advises the Mandalorian to take him to Tython, then she also advised the same Mandalorian not to appear in front of Grogu during his training with Luke. AHSOKA seems to be always there, precisely in those moments when fateful decisions are made. Since the entire AHSOKA series is built on a sort of new space and alternate realities, and I remind you that AHSOKA even fights Anakin on Mustafar after getting into an alternate past, then I won't be at all surprised if AHSOKA herself pulls Grogu straight out of the clutches of death in the same way like Ezra did to her. Again, this is all very complicated and specifically breaks not only the head but also Star Wars, but since Lucasfilm decided to push this topic further, then everything can be possible. TERA SINUBE. He may not be familiar to most viewers, but TERA SINUBE was a member of the Jedi High Council and one of the strongest on the par with Yoda or the same WINDU. Moreover, his talents were not limited to the Jedi arts. He was also an absolute expert in the underworld Coruscant. His connection with the Force allowed him to solve crimes much faster than professional detectives. At the time of his death, he probably could have been in the Jedi Temple. Why did I choose to include it in this list? Please note that over the past year, SINUBE has already appeared in 2 large projects. In the series about Obi-Wan, we learned that his lifeless body rests in a special amber in the Inquisitory on the planet Nura, and so much attention was focused on it. Also, Master SINUBE appeared in 2 episodes of Tales of the Jedi. During Katri's funeral, he stood with Dooku in the foreground. and during AHSOKA Tano's training, mind you, he was always somewhere on the screen. It's him, no one else. It is quite possible that it was he who was the mysterious savior of Grogu. It seemed to me that TERA SINUBE even trained him until Order 66 was announced. Maybe he even planned to take him into the Padawans. We'll see, but I think he's a good candidate for the mystery savior. Clone defector or no-name Jedi. This idea does not need to be specially painted, but it is also not worth discarding. It is most likely that the soldiers of the 501st Legion, there was one trooper who cut out the chip or refused to shoot the child, so he could attack his own from behind and then save the baby. Or Grogu could be saved by a character unknown to us, an absolute no-name whom no one knows. This also happens often. Grogu himself. Yes, and you know, for some reason in the depths of my soul, I'm most of all inclined precisely to think this theory to be the fact that there is no savior. As they said in Kung Fu Panda, there is no secret recipe. Think for yourself, baby Grogu is incredibly powerful, although he does not yet understand this. Even Luke did not know what he could be taught, plus we noticed how this kid skillfully handles power. Moreover, Palpatine chose him as a donor, and as I said at the very beginning of the video, it is quite possible that the clones plan to take Grogu alive because of his limitless power, which he has not yet revealed. What if he himself killed all the soldiers of the 501st Legion? He got scared, closed his eyes, gave free rein to his emotions and crushed everyone like a can of soda, or completely burned out with a lightning bolt of power. In simple words, he released all his latent potential in a single power attack. So much so that the entire temple shuddered for a second. Why doesn't he remember this? Because he lost consciousness and this segment was erased from his memory. In the first and second seasons, after each use of power, he immediately went to bed. Even taking a big beast off the ground took all his strength away from him. Imagine what state he would be in after a powerful impulse. How did he get out of the temple? That's another story. As such, there may have been a savior, but his role in the rescue was limited to moving from point A to point B, and as for killing clones, Grogu himself could do it. One way or another, the whole truth will be revealed to us only in March and maybe April, depending on which episode we will be shown a complete memory restoration scene. That's all for today. Did you like my theory? And who would you add to this list? Write in the comments and be sure to subscribe to the channel. The spring promises to be rich in Star Wars. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.